and to all of you that are in the other side of the screen, welcome to the mythical circuit of Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, where history and legends are made. And of course, today we are experiencing two races of the second round of the 2025 season of the TCR Europe. Welcome everybody to this mythical track. Today we are about to experience a very extreme race with a lot of things that are going to happen in about a few minutes. The cars are already in the grid, the teams are getting ready for racing, but a lot of things are going to happen here. We have Felipe Fernandez in pole position after securing the pole yesterday in a row, because last year he claimed the pole position. In wet condition, he's in a tricky pole position, but he also got the pole position this year. So, and he also broke the lap record here in Spa-Francorchamps. So let's see what it's about to happen, and let's see if we can have a little conversation with him in the car. Hello, Felipe. Pole position for you, second in a row, lap record that you got yesterday. How does it feel?
I feel great. I'm just focused on enjoy the race. I'm just telling to myself that let the body and the head what they know what to do. So I'm just focused on just do it and enjoy this race.
Thank you very much. So I think now it's time for my colleague Paul Jeffrey to continue giving you all the details that are about to happen in this race one of the second round of the TCR Europe 2025 here in Spa-Francorchamps.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much, Laura Hernandez, down there on the grid. Paul Jeffrey up here in the commentary box, and the warmest of warm welcomes to you all. As Laura mentioned, this is TCR Europe. This is round number 2, race number 3 of what has already been, I think it's fair to say, a very exciting 2025 racing season. Spa-Francorchamps, does it need an introduction? No, I don't think it does. It's a legendary circuit, and the weather is very Spa-Francorchamps. 13 degrees air temperature, 22 degrees track temperature with a 61% humidity. All week and into the weekend, it has been exceptionally warm here in Belgium. Temperatures starting to drop. There was fear that maybe a little bit of weather was heading over to the circuit. Not helped, of course, by our race being delayed ever so slightly due to incidents on track earlier in the day. But I think we've got away with it, and I think we're going to have some dry running. One thing I know for sure, we're going to have an absolutely fabulous race. This man, Felipe Fernandez, we mentioned already on the grid, second career pole position. Second pole position in a row at Spa-Francorchamps. But what we elected not to say is it's a brand new qualifying lap record, 1.6 seconds faster than the previous record held by Jean-Carl Vernet in the Audi RS3 LMS, all the way back, believe it or not, in 2018. Expect to see records fall. But before we do, let's have a look at the starting grid. It is that man, Felipe Fernandez, on pole. All Spanish front row as Santiago Concepcion joins him. Honda, and then Honda again as Ruben Volt lines up in third place, and then Jenson Park in the Hyundai Elantra N TCR for Solite Indigo Racing starts in fourth. Marco Butti had a difficult weekend. We'll talk about that one later, but he lines up in fifth position just ahead of Jimmy Clairet. Jimmy has work to do, so does Eric Genet. Down there in seventh, having had a grid penalty, qualified second, will start in seventh. Teddy Clairet is alongside him for company. A new name, Stendarian Piramigi, in ninth place alongside Victor Anderson. Victor will start the reverse grid race 2 in pole position. Yunui Park starts 11th. Nico Baldan is alongside him, the Korean and the Italian driver, respectively. Julian Brichet is in 13th position. Nicholas Taylor, very, very fast in practice. Couldn't put it together in qualifying, starts 14th, with Max Hart and Jenson Brickley in 15th and 16th place. Keep your eye on those three drivers. They're going to be making their way forward, I am sure. Filippo Barberi in 17th alongside Victor Fernandez in 18th position. And then in 19th, Pierre Arnaud and Navarro. In 20th, Sven Carusi, another new driver for ALM Motorsports this weekend here in Belgium. And then Jean-Laurent Navarro in 21st and last position. 21 drivers, 9 nationalities, 11 teams, 5 brands, and 17 TCR race winners across 7 different series. This is a field, this is a grid that absolutely no one can argue is jam-packed full of talent. Brilliant drivers, very close in qualification. 0.5 of a second just over covered our top 6, a second covering the top 10 drivers. Make a mistake, lose some time, and you will be in strife. Just like we said with Nick Taylor, incredibly fast in qualification. Got caught up in a little bit of debris and gravel brought onto the circuit from Julien Brichet. That hemorrhaged the lap time, hence the reason that Nick is starting all the way down the running order. But we've got some real big-name drivers, the Clairet brothers, who were outstanding, it has to be said, in Portimão. They're going to be a little bit further down the field, courtesy, of course, of a little bit of ballast. They've got 40 kilos on there for Jimmy, and 30 kilos for Teddy. Jenson Brickley also carries 30 kilograms. Felipe Fernandez, 20, and Victor Anderson with just 10 on board the MAGP Lincoln Co. Now, Spa-Francorchamps requires no introduction, does it? It's a wonderful circuit. It's been fabulous, fabulous action on track for the last few days. We've had a few test days on a couple of days ago, then into qualifying yesterday. But today, it's not one race, but 2 races in the same day with a relatively short gap between them. Next time we're on track will be 17:15 local time or 15:15 UTC. So the drivers need to be a little bit mindful that perhaps it might be wise to look after your car in this race. Touring car drivers, look after your car in a motor race at Spa. Yep, I'm also doubtful of that one myself. Will Felipe Fernandez be able to convert that pole position into that race victory? We'll find those questions out very shortly. This is our roll of honour, of course, for our champions. Franco Girolamo being the reigning TCR Europe champion. It's going to be a new one this season, I am absolutely sure. We go all over the world. We've done Algarve. We're at Spa now. Now it's the Hockenheim Ring on the 7th to the 8th of June. Mazzano, Red Bull Ring, and finishing off at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. Absolutely incredible calendar of racetracks. Very different racetracks, of course. Spa and Portimão share some similarities, undulations, long radius corners. Hockenheim Ring, of course, is a much shorter circuit indeed. But we're 7 kilometres here. 19 corners, 10 to the left, 9 to the right. Felipe Fernandez with a qualification lap record of 2:27.184. The current race record is held by, let's have a quick look on here, Felipe himself actually, 2:29.949 from the race last year. He'll be hoping to replicate that kind of pace, but crucially, he'll be hoping to hold on to that first position for the run down into La Source. It's going to be a pinch point at the first corner of the La Source hairpin, of course, and then it's the legendary run, there's no other way to put it, up through Eau Rouge and Radion, where slipstream is your friend or your enemy, depending on where you start. It's not going to be easy for Felipe Fernandez. Santiago Concepcion alongside him, looking for his first win in TCR Europe. The Spanish driver, the young Spanish driver, Santiago Concepcion, just seems to get better and better every time he's in a TCR car. He's unlocked something this weekend, folks, so he is going to be one to watch. Will the age and experience of Felipe overcome the youth and exuberance of Santiago? And of course, let's not forget Marco Butti starting in 5th position. He's going to be another driver to watch. Had a big incident in testing a couple of days ago. Heavy damage to the Motorsports Honda Civic. That's being repaired. The car is in fine fettle, and Marco, the young Italian driver, looking very strong indeed. Formation lap then is underway. Final chance for these drivers to rediscover the 7 kilometres of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit for the final time before we're in racing conditions. Temperatures, not a problem. We're not worried about tyre wear particularly in this race. It's a little bit cooler than the testing that we've experienced so far. Speaking to the drivers, the long runs, not particularly worried about tyre deck drop-off. It may be an issue slightly towards the end of the race, so discretion be the better part of valour for many of these drivers. They will have half a mind on keeping that Kumo rubber in fine fettle. But this is going to be very much a race, hard race to the flag. 25 minutes plus 1 lap is our race distance. Collectively, let's keep our fingers crossed that we stay green flag running all the way through. We can get some great racing under our belts. This is the third race of 2025, of course. We're in Portimão just a few short weeks ago, where it was Jimmy Clairet that took the pole position and the race 1 victory. And then in race 2, it was Jenson Brickley, of course. So the Cupra showing its legs. Doesn't seem quite as competitive, it has to be said, this time around. Cupras are a little bit further down the running order. It's also going to be very interesting to see Solite Indigo Racing. Jenson Park will start in 4th position, qualified in 5th. Moves up to 4th position courtesy of the Eric Genet penalty. 5-place grid penalty, if you do recall, from contact in Portimão with Felice Yelmini. Unfortunately, Felice not with us this weekend. So they're not going to come together again, which will be a rarity in 2025 because they've done it every race so far. But I think Eric Genet is another one of those drivers where, speaking to him, they've got a lot of pace in that car. They feel good over a race distance. And down there in 7th position, there's opportunity, methinks, for Eric Genet to work his way through. Jimmy Clairet, as mentioned previously, our championship leader by 3 points from Jenson Brickley. He's got a good opportunity, does the French driver, starting up there in 6th position. Brickley all the way down in 16th. This is very much the time where the Clairet Sports squad going to pull up the trousers and see how fast they can go. Big opportunity then for the French drivers and French team. There's a little feature coming on the Clairets very shortly on the TCR Europe Unboxed programme. If you haven't watched that one on the TCR TV YouTube channel, very recently we launched our first episode as a resume of the opening round at Portimão. I do highly recommend you go over to YouTube after this race, of course, because we've got some motor racing coming our way, and check that one out. It's a fabulous job from the new team here at TCR Europe to add a little bit of insight and flair into our race weekends. We all know the racing product's good, but of course there's lots and lots of things that happen in the background. There's lots of stories to tell, and 2025 is going to be our year to tell those stories, to give you those insights, to give you the flavours that make this championship so very, very special indeed. Julien Brichet, who we see on our screen there, 13th position for the French driver. Our most winningest driver, actually, in TCR Europe. 2 previous race victories here at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Ruben Volt being the only other former winner at Spa in TCR Europe. Ruben, of course, having won last year in a rain-affected and somewhat topsy-turvy race. Wouldn't he dearly love to try and find a bit of pace? 3rd position on the grid. We know he's good at the starts. Ruben is definitely a man to keep your eye out. There he is, the number 27 ALM Motorsport driver. I think it's fair to say ALM not had the start to the season that they were looking for. Their lead driver being Ruben, 13th position, reigning teams champions. So there's a lot of work to do, and this is an opportunity for them to, in effect, kickstart their new racing season. Doesn't that look good? TCR Europe grid full of cars, all looking resplendent, all looking very, very nice indeed. And we see Jean Laurent lining up in the yellow machine at the back of the grid. All onto your hats, folks. Get comfortable. Have the beverage to hand. So in a few moments, we're going to go racing again. Green flag waves then at the back of the grid. The lights are on, the timing tower, and we are go for the first time here at Spa-Francorchamps in 2025. Felipe Fernandez immediately comes under pressure from Santiago Concepcion. The inside line, though, at La Source is absolutely king, but Concepcion gets a beautiful run and takes over an early race lead. Fernandez down a second. Jenson Park up in a 3rd position. You see Marco Buni as well. Ruben Volt didn't get a launch. And then further back, Julien Brichet has the whole weight of the world on his shoulders for the run through Eau Rouge. Don't go side by side through there, boys. That is very dangerous indeed. But Young Wee Park, absolutely committed, gets it done at the top of Radion. And now Brichet under pressure from Jenson Brickley. Behind, as at the front of the field, Concepcion, the slipstream proving to be his undoing. Look at Marco Butti. Butti throws the car to the inside. Will he get them both? No contact between himself and Concepcion. Concepcion manages to get the car back on the racetrack. Marco Butti survives that one. That is aggression. Turned up to 10 for the Italian driver. They just about survived that one as Max Hart, further down the pack, is trying to get involved with Jenson Brickley. There is Ruben Volt. Bit of a backwards defensive stance at this moment in time, it seems, as Genet and Clairet come together. That is contact in the middle of the racetrack. Genet and Clairet, both drivers, I think, survived. Teddy and Jimmy together as one. And who's that? Julien Brichet. Julien Brichet off as well. Not been an ideal start for the French driver. Looks like a bit of damage as well on that machine. So Julien recovers to the racetrack. Hopefully for him, that car's not too problematical as Booty. Booty to the inside now. Conception holds his line. Great bit of defensive driving there from Santiago. Not yielding to the pressure of the Italian driver behind. Santiago still in the race lead. Marco Booty, though, on aggressive levels. That is Park just getting a bit squirrely further down the pack. Victor Anderson on the outside line. Not very often you see Victor Anderson not in the heat. Some kind of exciting battle. And it is exactly the same again. Dropped a few places, though, from 10th to 14th position. So Victor's got work to do. But let's have a look at the front of the field now, because Marco Booty is lining up a move. We're taking a look a little bit further down at Jimmy Clairet and Eric Genet. But here is Booty, lights ablaze, into the bus stop chicane for the first time, and that is a beautiful move from Marco. Will he get the car stopped? Not quite. He does have the advantage of the inside line, but Santiago more concentrated on corner exit for the run down in to the La Source hairpin. Booty heavily defensive to the inside line, and that's going to compromise him if he's too defensive. As is his right, moves onto the racing line. Conception can't find a way past. A little bit further back, Fernandez takes the move as well. Ruben Volt still in 5th position. Felipe holding on in 4th. But it is advantage Marco Booty. And the first time of asking, 22 minutes, 1 lap in the book, 22 minutes to go. Booty leads from Santiago Conception. Then it is Jenson Park in 3rd position. Felipe Fernandez in 4th. And then the rest of the chasing pack follow on behind. Wonderful, wonderful scenes here at Spa-Francorchamps. And look at Jenson Park. Look at this one in just their 2nd weekend in Europe. The TCR Italy converts, a team from South Korea. Absolutely on a charge. That Hyundai very nicely hooked up in the early stages. That is Jenny Park a little bit further behind his teammate. He's got for company Jenson Brickley. So Jenson, the British driver, having a fabulous start to this race. 16th on the grid. He's already up 5 into 11 places. Nick Taylor, beautiful start as well. 6 places gained up into 8th position. So Nick, he was very disappointed after qualification, it has to be said. And he is highly enthused, shall we say, about his prospects of working his way through the field. The PMA Motorsports Audi, we see in the middle of the shot there. Going solo for this one, Felice Yelmini, unfortunately not with us here at Spa-Francorchamps, but Nick absolutely upholding the honours of that Italian PMA Motorsports team, doing a fabulous, fabulous opening stint. 8th position so far. Jimmy Clairet, that we see on screen there, very, very briefly in the heat of battle as well. Jimmy having difficult time of things, it has to be said. 6th place, that car quick, but not quite quick enough. Consolidation, though, as I mentioned, the name of the game. Score the big points while your potential championship rivals find themselves in strife. Jenson Brickley is doing a very fine job indeed, it has to be said, of mitigating the losses, shall we say, from a suboptimal qualification. Through Blanchimont we go. Some cars are flat out, some, to quote a certain Italian driver in an Audi, a little bit sketchy. Filippo Barberi says on that one, loves the racetrack, but it is a very spicy experience. That was a move that we saw very, very briefly for Eric Genet. Gets it all wrong on the bus stop, though, has to go through the escape curbs. He's back on the track again, but Taylor will be more than a little bit enthusiastic of the move, and there indeed we go. Nick Taylor finds the outside line and almost for good measure tries to find a way past Jimmy Clairet as well. Teddy's brother is just behind in the jet black Audi, and look at these. It's like a NASCAR race, everybody. This is sensational for the run-up Eau Rouge. Jimmy Clairet holds the advantage, but everybody else has one behind. That is Eric Genet. He's been up and down the order like a yo-yo. And this is banana skin time for these drivers. You don't want to slip up. You've got to have eyes in the back of your head. As Jenson Park has eyes only for 2nd position. Around the outside into the com. That will become the inside line if the room is afforded to the South Korean driver. Santiago Conception, though, in no mood to give anything away, as Felipe Fernandez almost collects the back of the Hyundai, and that bit of an incident opens a nice Ruben Volt-shaped door. Ruben, never one, needing to be invited twice to an overtaking manoeuvre, has a little look, a little bit of rubbing as well, so that contact's not been good for Park whatsoever. Fumes of smoke flailing from the back of that one. That's a bit of tyre rub. That is not going to be sustainable for the rest of the race. I do think Park is going to be in some kind of strife. Around the outside goes Ruben Volt. So this is devastating for Solite. What a drive for Jenson Park at this moment in time. But I think that car is looking like it's in a bit of trouble. That was contact with Felipe Fernandez. Lightest of touches to the back of the Hyundai Elantra TCR. But it may well just be enough to compromise him at the very, very least, allowing Santiago Concepcion back up the running order. Jenson Park now is going to have a world of pain behind him, because there is Clairet, Taylor, Genet. Clairet again, almost climbing over the back of the Hyundai. Thankfully, the tyre rub smoke seems to have subsided somewhat. So hopefully for Jenson, things are okay. His teammate Yunhui Park is currently down in. Where is Yunhui? Let's have a look. Very small timing screen I've got here, but Yunhui a little bit further down in 12th position. Maybe not quite had access to the pace of his teammate over the course of this weekend. Still doing a very, very good job indeed. Picking up the fight now with Eric Genet. 8th position for the Spanish driver. Goes to the inside of Nick Taylor. Catches Nick sleeping a little bit on that one. The Canadian driver, it has to be said. Nick not fighting that one too hard. Drops down a position. But now this is the beauty of Spa, ladies and gents. You lose the position, you slot back in, you minimise the losses, and then you take advantage of the slipstream all the way up Eau Rouge and Radion onto the Kemmel Straight and line yourself up for a move into the beautiful Lacan complex of corners. Sounds easy on paper. You know what makes it harder? Having Teddy Clairet in your rearview mirror trying to find a way past. And that's exactly what Nick Taylor's got. Teddy thinks about a look to the inside. Not quite close enough on this occasion. Unlike the Solite Indigo Racing Machine, defending hard. And there is Barbieri just behind. Absolutely loving his time. First time at Spa-Francorchamps for Barbieri. Absolutely loving this circuit. Loving the experience, but just can't quite unlock the pace he says he needs in the setup at this moment in time. It'll be a lot of good learning in this opening race, I'm absolutely sure, as we find Jimmy Clairet trying again to find a way past, but just can't make it past Jenson Park. The number 97 machine holding station in 5th position as things stand. Thankfully, the tyre rub seems to have resolved itself, which is a great bit of news. Solite Indigo Racing, so impressive in Portimão for their first time in TCR Europe, and they're even better again. But there is contact, and there is your championship leader off onto the gravel. Jimmy Clairet, light contact between himself and Jenson Park has the biggest of consequences. This is going to be massive for the championship connotations. Park survives that bit of contact, but there is Clairet. Who's that one whipping past through the screen as well? That is Pirimage. So Clairet has lost a world of time down into the very best 17th position. Victor Anderson, by the way, has been in some kind of strife that we've not seen on screen. I'm just noticing him down in 17th as well. So Jimmy and Victor, 16th and 17th positions, the lightest of touches, the greatest of consequences. And if you're anybody that has aspirations of winning this championship, to see the Clairet Sport Audi off in the gravel will do you a world of good, I am sure. As look at this one, Nico Baldan trying to get bought into it. Teddy Clairet still on the racetrack, trying to find a way past Nick Taylor. Jenson Brickley now up into 10th position as well. There is the Monlau Motorsports Cupra to the inside, doesn't quite find the opportunity. Barbieri holds on to that one for now. Max Hart going with him as well. And let's take a look at what went wrong for Jimmy Clairet. Has a look to the inside, then the outside of Park. Park doesn't recognise the car is there. Contact is made. And a day at the beach in Belgium is the order of the day for Jimmy Clairet. He's back on the racetrack. There'll not be too much damage, I am sure. So it's not going to be the end of his day, but it's definitely the end of his good mood on this one. Eric Genet, we're picking him up on the Kemmel Straight to the outside. We've seen this move before. Outside becomes inside. Eric's not too concerned about that one because outside becomes escape road. Jenson Park may have a little bit to say about that one. Eric Genet moves up a position, but off of the racing surface. And I think, yes, very wise. And the French driver is Ruben Volt is off. off. Ruben Volt down into Bruxelles, is off into the gravel. It isn't the first time that we've seen Volt in the gravel this season, and he will be absolutely devastated. 4th position, relatively strong running for Ruben. Yellow flags waving in that sector, hopefully. We won't go under safety car conditions. We'll come back to that one, though. Don't know what happened to Ruben Volt. Looked like an issue. Relatively unforced, so maybe something with the car. Let's not speculate. We'll come back to that one. But the end result is Ruben Volt is out. Jenson Park back up in a 4th place. But for how long? As Eric Genet gave that position back, very rightly, from the Spanish driver. Well played, Eric, on Monlau Motorsports. But vulnerability is the name of the game for the Solite Indigo Racing driver. He definitely doesn't seem to have the pace. He's the cork, the proverbial cork, in the bottle of this particular battle pack. And Jenson Park is under a lot of pressure. No safety car so far, just yellow flags down there in turn 8. And as I say it right on cue, a safety car is called. So everybody calm themselves down, myself included, and let's take stock of what we're seeing. There is Ruben Volt pointing to the car, shake of the head. That's racing driver speak for it's broken. And Ruben looks rightly very, very disappointed. For me, coming into this season, Ruben Volt's one of those drivers that I would have found it very hard to look past as a championship contender. Well, everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong for the Estonian driver. ALM Motorsports having a bit of a nightmare start, it has to be said, to 2025, and that misfortune continues. Just 16 points on the board so far for Ruben Volt. And I don't think he's going to be a very cheerful young man at all. It's not the weather to be sat on grass bankings in Belgium and look furious. Furious as Ruben Volt, and so he should be. It's not been his year. Marco Butti then is our race leader under safety car conditions from Santiago Concepcion. Santiago, to be fair, has done a very fine job in holding off what's been quite a fraught start to this race. Felipe Fernandez from Jenson Park, 3rd and 4th respectively. Eric Genet up there in 5th as well, just ahead of Nick Taylor. Nick Taylor, shout out to the Canadian driver for PMA Motorsports. What a start to the race for him. Beautiful stuff from Nick Taylor from all the way down there in, let's have a look, where was he? 17th off memory? No, 14th position in qualification. Up there in 6th, just ahead of Teddy Clairet in 7th. Nico Baldan, Max Hart, Jenson Brickley being the top 10. Jean-Laurent Navarro down there in 21st is in pit lane, so he is our first retiree of 2. Ruben Volt having exited stage left into the gravel, unfortunately being the other name down there at Bruxelles. And everything calms down for a few moments. 10 minutes, 47 seconds plus 1 lap on the clock. A safety car is out on track. I had the pleasure, I've been out in that a little bit earlier on today, and my oh my, you think Spa's great in a sim? You think it's great on the telly? Get on track, it's absolutely spectacular. Keep your eye out on the next issue of TCR Europe Unboxed to find out what that little adventure was all about. But they're doing a fine job of just calming things down a bit. The steward, the marshals, straight on the scene. Great snatch vehicle is there, so that is good. There's a healthy gap in the fence as well that hopefully we can get that ALM Motorsports Honda Civic into quick as possible and go racing once again. Big shout out, by the way, on the safety car conditions, while we have the opportunity, to the marshals all around the world, not just here at the circuit at Spa-Francorchamps. We couldn't go racing if it wasn't for the Orange Army at the side of the tracks. What you do allows us to do what we do, and our eternal thanks will always be there for each and every one in difficult conditions. Volunteers out there making sure that everybody stays safe and everything's good to go racing. So a big, big thank you to marshals, past, present and future, all the way around the world for the absolutely sterling work that they do to allow us to enjoy the things that we enjoy. And my goodness me, folks, don't know about you, but I really, really do love touring car racing, and I'm absolutely delighted with the way that the 2025 TCR Europe season is going. What a field of drivers. What a stacked field of teams. It is a really strong championship in 2025, and a few things happening behind the scenes that suggest it's going to be even stronger still going forward into the future. So it's a very exciting time to be a TCR Europe fan. I'm sure you will agree. I'm sure these people agree. While the safety cars whirring around, they're finding their next vantage spot at Spa. It's a big old place here at Spa. It's often quite the hike to get from wherever you are to wherever you're going. And they need to get their move on. Need to get a shake on, don't they? The safety car is in this lap. So excellent work from the marshals as always. 8 minutes 35 plus 1 lap on the board. In a few moments' time, we'll be racing again with Marco Butti as our race leader. Marco's weekend, so to speak, even though it's not been during weekend running, didn't go so well in testing. Quite the incident, quite the accident for Marco. Lots and lots of damage on the MM Motorsport car. They worked through the night to get that thing repaired, and it's now in very fine fettle indeed. And with the massively talented Italian behind the wheel, they're leading this race. Marco looking for his first win in TCR Europe. And I think things are lining up quite well, apart from the pesky Santiago Concepcion behind, who body language of car suggests he's not particularly keen on the idea of giving Marco Butti the advantage. But Marco, despite his young years, is an experienced, wily old fox and gets a very, very nice restart through the bus stop chicane and down into La Source for the first time back under racing conditions. And look at this one, Jenson Park to the inside of Felipe Fernandez. Audacity and bravery personified. That's a fabulous move. Also opens the door for Eric Genet. Eric walks through said door and in a 5th position. That is not the start that Felipe Fernandez would have been looking for. 2 cars, 2 past in the space of a corner and a bit. Felipe caught napping a little bit there, it has to be said, and Nick Taylor now using the slipstream to his advantage. So Nick has an opportunity in the PMA Audi. He steps out of into the fresh air, tries to find the inside line. Felipe Fernandez though says no. Teddy Clairet says, you boys are having fun, I'll have a piece of this pie, thank you very much. Tries the outside line into Lecom. No dice on this occasion. Clairet drops back behind the back of the sister Audi. Different team, same model, of course, PMA Motorsports versus the family-run Clairet Sport team. And Teddy upholding honours for the team, his brother Jimmy, having experienced a bit of a day in the gravel, is still in 14th position, still circulating, and courtesy of the safety car, still very much in touch with the lead pack. But Jimmy's got a lot of work to do. Victor Anderson just behind as well, so Victor on the recovery drive in 16th place. But let's have a look now. That is Clairet and Taylor, round number 32, it seems, of this particular battle. And on this occasion, Teddy wins and moves up in a 5th position. So Nick won't like that one. He's kind of used to going forwards in TCR Europe in 2025, not backwards. He needs to recover that one very quickly indeed. 6 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock. The time does keep a ticking here for the first race of 2. Don't forget, over the course of today, over the course of Saturday, in Spa-Francorchamps, back in action again, 17:15 local time on air, or 15:15 UTC for the second and final race of the weekend. And if you're a touring car fan like me, yeah, you don't miss second races of weekends, because that's normally where things get a bit bonkers. So keep your eye on that one. Keep your eye on this one as well, as Jenson Park provisionally in a podium position, which would be an incredible run of form for the South Korean driver. But Eric Genet really would also very much like that one. Rat-a-tat-tat, Morse code to the back of the Hyundai through the bus stop chicane. But Jenson Park does a great job of holding on to the car, not letting that compromise him or make him vulnerable. Would anybody make a dive to the inside? Of course they will. It's Eric Genet. Dive to the inside at La Source. Successful dive to the inside, and the old switcheroo. Beautiful driving there from Park. Absolutely fantastic performance. Gets that position back, and then Clairet and Fernandez on the run up through Eau Rouge. Clairet secures the position. Felipe Fernandez down 1. Good bit of driving there from Teddy. He's up very firmly into the top 6 and looking to try and move forward. Let's remember 30 kilos of success ballast on Teddy's car, so he's running a little bit heavy compared to those around him, but the Audi carries it well. It has to be said. Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one. That's a 246, the Monlau Motorsport car of Jenson Brickley. I do think that will more than likely be, not quite sure what part of the racetrack that one is at. Turn 3, apparently. Ooh, Eau Rouge and Radion. That's never an exciting experience. Hopefully Jenson is okay. We'll find out what happened as Julian Brichet flashes his lights a little bit further down in 12th position, trying to find a way past Barberi. But Jenson Brickley, it's not been a great start to the weekend, it has to be said, for Jenson. Making him our third retirement of the race. And let's have a look what went wrong for Jenson. It looks like the problem's already started, actually, so that's a bit relieving. It's always better to be at the bottom of Eau Rouge than the top when you have a problem. Problem's already started. Into the endurance pit lane. We're not using that one. And that's a very, very second-hand look in Cupra. So Jenson out of the race. Hopefully we can cover that one in local yellows. Hopefully Jenson's followed the race director briefing notes and found an access point in which to stop the Monlau Motorsport Cupra. His teammate, Eric Genet, no such thoughts of stopping his car. The one thing he wants to stop is that pesky Solite Indigo Racing Hyundai Elantra and TCR ahead of him. Eric Genet had a real good battle so far with Yunsung, and unfortunately, the inevitable safety car has been called. So we take pause for thought again for a moment, folks at home, as we slow things down and work on trying to find a way to get the Monlau Cupra of Jenson Brickley into a safe position. Marco Butti can't buy a break here, can he? Build up a gap of a good second and a half over Santiago Concepcion. That's all going to get whittled down to absolutely nothing again. Big question is, though, with 2 minutes and 40 seconds plus one on the clock, can we get by racing again before this one comes to a conclusion? If you're Marco Butti, yeah, you'll be hoping not, because that'll be a great, great, great debut victory in TCR Europe for the Italian driver. But if you're the likes of Eric Genet, if you're the likes of Nick Taylor, Felipe Fernandez even, and Max Hart down there in 9th, you'll be desperate for another opportunity to try and improve your lot in life ahead of the checkered flag on this first race of the day, third race of the season, second round of the season in TCR Europe and Filippo Barberi. That we see there, whereabouts is he? 11th position. Has been a pretty strong drive through the field for him from 17th. 6 places gained. They're not TCR cars, they're snatch vehicles. Oh, don't like to see that one. As the low loader makes the way up Eau Rouge. That's a steep corner, is Eau Rouge. That's going to probably have to gear down several gears to find a way to pick up Jenson Brickley's car. But Jenson, I think he's rolling backwards under his own steam, actually. So that's a good bit of thought from Jenson there. Not waiting for the low loader. He's going to try and roll it back into the entrance of the endurance pits. Never enthusiastic about seeing non-race cars on racetracks, even under safety car conditions. So good part of the track to meet him, though. Everybody's going slowly, so it's all nice and safe. It's just a little bit disconcerting, has to be said, as our safety car continues to lead the field around. Marco Butti, Santiago Concepcion and Jun Sung Park are our top 3. Then it's Eric Genet from Teddy Clairet, 4th and 5th. Nick Taylor in 6th, Felipe Fernandez in 7th. Nico Baldan 8th, 9th for Max Hart, and then Junwee Park doing a pretty good job, has to be said, to avoid the world of dramas that can come your way in these things. Hold on to 10th, and there we go. A little bit of help now for Jenson to get the car back behind the barriers, and that's not a moment too soon, actually. We might just be able to finish this one under green flags. In fact, the safety car is coming in on this lap, so we will be able to finish under green flag conditions. There are opportunities, not many, but there are opportunities for all of our drivers here to do a little bit more about improving their lot. Reverse grid race 2, of course, is qualification Q2 dependent, so your finishing position here isn't going to impact your starting position for the next race this afternoon. What it is going to impact is the all-important championship points, and quite frankly, that's why these drivers are here, for the victory, for the glory, and for the championship. And Marco Butti, he'll be absolutely delighted to be in the pound seats at this moment in time. But Santiago Concepcion, we've seen towards the end of last season when he came into TCR Europe, and certainly the start of this season, Santiago is marrying his ridiculously great pace with his willingness to get the elbows out. Marco and Santi, possibly 2 of the more aggressive drivers in our field, racing to the line in a limited time left race. What can go wrong? Santiago will be very enthused, I'm sure, that Johnson Park will be more focused, I think it's fair to say, and keeping hold of that 3rd position. That'd be an absolutely sensational result for the Solar Indigo Racing team. Johnson, lovely chap, always very, very happy to talk, really enthusiastic about his time in TCR cars and TCR Europe in particular. It'd be really quite delightful, actually, it has to be said. If they can get a podium, I'd love to see the emotion of team and driver on that one. Got plenty of people here in the marketing and media side of things. Got a bit of a celebrity as well in the team. So it'd be a great story for that little squad if they can find their way all the way from South Korea via Italy and then into TCR Europe. If they can get a podium so early in what is a very exciting adventure for them. But you know what they always say about motor racing and commentating in particular, make no predictions because they will almost instantaneously be proven wrong. And let's see, a 1 lap dash to the flag. You can't write the script, folks, can you? Hold on to your hats, buckle up tight. This is going to get wild very quickly indeed, I'm absolutely sure. So Marco Bucci then, through the bus stop chicane, he goes again, nice and early on corner exit. That buys him some advantage. Santiago Concepcion on this final lap is more in a defensive stance than an attacking one, it has to be said. Jenson Park has a thinks better of it. Jung-Wee Park a little bit further back is on the defensive as well. Filippo Barberi trying to find a way past, fails to do so on this occasion. So it is Solite cars in 3rd and 10th positions respectively. There's Julien Brichet, had a bit of drama, but he's doing a good job up there in 12th position as we wind our way up Eau Rouge and Raidillon for the final time in this race. Never a finer sight as a touring car at flat chat through Eau Rouge. Absolutely spectacular. Also spectacular, though, is this opportunity. So Jenson Park has the outside line for the run down into Le Combe. A little bit of kissing. Mansell and Cederes. Santiago Concepcion, though, is the last of the late breakers. Has he broken too late, though? He mounts the curb on corner exit, just about keeps the car on the straight and narrow. So Concepcion in the RC2 Honda is doing a fantastic job of defending that position. A little bit further back, Felipe Fernandez, remember our pole sitter, tries one way and then the other to find his way past Nico Baldan. Baldan, though, holds on to that position, racing all the way through the pack. There's a slightly subdued Max Hart going through your screen in 9th place, but look at Fernandez. Look at Fernandez on a charge now. The Icoa car of Nico Baldan is vulnerable. I don't think Fernandez managed the opportunity on that occasion, but all the way through the field, we've got racing action. This is the final lap, remember, folks. We're running out of opportunities. It is a track where you can overtake Spa-Francorchamps, but it isn't absolutely as straightforward as many of these drivers would like. Takes two to tango in a motor race. And touring car drivers aren't known for giving away easy overtakes, as now Eric Genet is lining himself up. Absolutely fantastic here. This is an opportunity through Stabilo up to the curb of Paul Ferreira. Genet with the slipstream, with the impetus, with the initiative, and with the desire. Can Jenson Park hold on to that debut podium position? He's going to be very vulnerable as we go through Blanchimont now. Fastest corner on the racetrack. In fact, Concepcion makes a mistake. It is Santiago that is vulnerable now as Jenson Park has a look to the outside line. But while that is all happening, at the head of the pack for MM Motorsport, from the fence to the victory, it is Marco Bucci who will take the checkered flag and win his first race in TCR Europe in 2nd position at the death. Jenson Park takes it away from Santiago Concepcion, Eric Genet, Teddy Clairet, Nick Taylor, Nico Baldan, Felipe Fernandez, Max Hart, and Jung-Wee Park are our top 10. But take a bow, gentlemen, on the podium. That is so dramatic. Let's have another look on the final lap. That's how Park got it done. It was all about exit of the bus stop chicane. It was a mistake for Santiago Concepcion, not under pressure at all, and that's a mistake from Victor Fernandez. That's a terrifying place to lose a race car. Great bit of driving though from Fernandez to keep it on the brakes, not to roll back into the pack. And over the top of Blanchimont, over the top of Raidillon is absolutely, categorically not the place that you want to lose a race car. But Victor Fernandez does a sterling job, it has to be said, of keeping hold of that machine. Not quite as good a job, though, as Marco Bucci. MM Motorsports, Marco Bucci. It's been an up and down weekend, or build-up to this race, it has to be said. And you know when your car gets damaged and your mechanics have to work until 5 a.m. in the morning to fix it, you know how you say thanks? You go win a motor race. And that's exactly what Marco Bucci's done. Absolutely superb stuff. Lovely guy is Marco. Lovely family, actually. His dad's here as well at Spa-Francorchamps. We had a quick chat yesterday, language barrier permitting at least. He was very excited about his son's prospects, and perhaps obviously he knows Marco better than we do, because that is quite the drive from the Italian. Raced, of course, on-off in TCR Europe in the past, and also in the Kumo FIA TCR World Tour. He's back for a full-time campaign with Motorsports. And what a race victory it was. Fabulous stuff then. As we look at our provisional race results, Marco Butti is the winner for Motorsports in the Honda Civic alongside Jenson Park, Solat Indigo Racing. Santiago Concepcion rounds out our provisional podium with Eric Genet, Teddy Clairet, Nick Taylor, Nico Baldan and Felipe Fernandez, your top 8. 9th position goes to the way of Junwee Park. And then in 10th, it is Filippo Barberi. 11th place for Julian Brichet, just ahead of the recovering Jimmy Clairet in 12th. Sten Dorian Piramage in 13th. Victor Anderson, 14th position. 15th for Max Hart. Pierre Arnaud Navarro in 16th. 17th on debut for Sven Carus for ALM Motorsports. Victor Fernandez, 18th. Jenson Brickley, 19th. Ruben Volt is classified 20th. And Jean-Laurent Navarro, 21st. 3 retirees from 21 race starters. Not a bad hit rate, it has to be said, for this track. And this is how that affects the championship standings. Jimmy and Teddy Clairet, 1 and 2, separated by a point. Marco Butti, 3rd in the standings from Jenson Brickley. And Felipe Fernandez in 5th. Eric Genet in 6th. And 10 points between them as we head down to Laura Hernandez with an interview.
Marco Butti, congratulations, winner of race 1. You started in 5th position and you managed to overtake in just the first lap, leading the whole race. What an intense race. Congratulations.
Yeah, we did an amazing start, and after in the first lap I pushed so much to go really at the beginning in the front, and later I can manage a bit because for me yesterday was a difficult day after the crash of FP1. And I cannot do my best in qualifying because I am a bit scary in the Eau Rouge. But yes, today we are really happy. Also for the team, they did a good job repairing the car all the night in Friday. So yeah, thanks.
Was it difficult for you to manage to continue the pace after the safety car?
Yeah, you know, when you are in the first position, you are thinking more than when you are in the fight. So I'm thinking about the tires, the front tires. Maybe I can have a puncture. I'm thinking about the other driver, what happened in the race. But yeah, I can manage because we have a really good car and we are the fastest on track.
Marco, congratulations and all the best for race 2. You've seen it, first race and the winner of first race, and let's see what's going to happen in race 2.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Laura. Down there on pit lane is very happy, but slightly subdued, I think it's fair to say. Marco Butti takes the race victory. Let's have a look then at the highlights of the race that we've just seen. It was Felipe Fernandez that started from pole position. Santiago Concepcion, though, got the best run off of the line. Outside line proved to be the ticket for Santiago as he got the run through the La Source corner. A little bit further on, though, it was all the drama in the world. And this is the move of the race for Marco Butti. Aggressive, yes. Effective, yes. Marco tried to take the race lead on that occasion and then did it again at the bus stop chicane. Concepcion absolutely diamond in his defence, but he didn't have enough to make the race lead. Jimmy Clairet had a visit to the gravel. Contact with Park was the end result. The championship leader in strife does a good job to recover. Unlike Ruben Volt, suffered an issue with his car, went to the gravel. It's another DNF for the Estonian driver. Not one, but 2 safety car interventions would be the order of the day, making life difficult for Marco Butti. Making life difficult for Solat Indigo Racing would be Eric Genet. On that occasion, not finding a way past as teammate Jenson Brickley brings out our second and final safety car of the day. Brickley exiting the race in dramatic fashion, and with it making life that little bit harder for his championship standings. And then right at the very end of the race, Jenson Park with a dynamite run through the bus stop chicane takes that second position away for his first podium. But the man of the moment, the man of the minute, the man of the hour, it's got to be Marco Butti and Motorsports. In the fence to the checkered flag, all in the space of a few days. It has been a sterling story of redemption. I said to Marco Butti in the paddock yesterday, if you go out and win this race, that will be a story arc that is well worth exploring, and Marco's done a very fine job indeed to deliver on that promise. Fantastic performance for the Italian driver, significantly helping, of course, his own championship standings. And with the win, he also takes the Youth Trophy Award as well for drivers 21 and under before free practice 1 in race 1 of the season. So another victory there, should I say, sorry, for Marco Butti. The Diamond Trophy, by the way, for drivers 40 and above, goes the way once again of Nico Baldan. Nico 7th in the overall standings for Icoa Racing, and he takes the Diamond Trophy from Felipe Fernandez in 2nd in Diamond and Julia Brichet in 3rd position respectively. We're waiting for our podium then, which will happen in a few moments' time. Our drivers will get their trophies and their champagnes. They'll have to be a bit careful, not too much drinking of said champagne, of course, because as I said before, and I'll say again, we go racing again later on today. It's a strange calendar layout, schedule should we say, for this weekend. Qualifying on the Friday, racing on the Saturday. But at 15:15 UTC, we'll be back on air again for race number 2. Santiago Concepcion looks very happy indeed, despite the last corner pass. Jumps upon a 3rd place. Jenson Park into 2nd, and your race winner, Marco Butti, at the head of the podium. Great victory for ML Motorsport and the national anthem. A very long segment of the Italian national anthem there from Marco Butti. Soak it all up while you can. Fabulous stuff from Marco. The podium, of course. Last time out in Portimão, well, got a bit better this time, hasn't he? For the race victory. 3rd position then, trophy, Jean Dubois, race manager of the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Hands that one out to Santiago Concepcion. 2nd position, Manuel Weisner, tyre performance engineer at Kumo, goes the way of Jenson Park. And TCR Europe promoter Ruben Fernandez gives Marco Butti his winner's trophy. Fantastic stuff for Marco. He'll be really sincerely overjoyed. I'm looking forward to speaking to Marco in a short while about this one. And then we'll be giving out our youth trophy and team's trophy as well. There is the team's trophy. Gabriel Alonso from TCR Europe is awarding that one. Congratulations to all the drivers and teams. Beautiful trophies these here in TCR Europe. It'll look very nice on the mantelpiece, wouldn't it, Marco? Keeps collecting these trophies, doesn't he? Very, very, very talented young man. And there is Jean Dubois for the youth trophy. So, there we go, folks. That was race 1. Back again, as I say, at 15:15 UTC on TCR TV on YouTube. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.